Thank you so much. It's a cool evening here in Gulu City, and here at Storywa, we want to welcome you for yet again our new edition. This time, we are discussing a very important issue, what has been on the media for a long time now, coming to a week. But today we want to take time and unpack it. We want to bring it to your attention. We want to inform you on things you did not know, and want to give you perspectives from different knowledgeable panelists, our panelists who will tell you exactly what it means. We want to discuss Otunu and the UN and the government of Uganda. What does this mean for the local person here? What does this mean for Uganda? What does this mean for Africa? I am Olara Fred, and with me here I have two very able panelists, Mr. Eddie and Mr. Fred. So maybe to introduce yourselves to our viewers. Eddie, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Our viewers, our most able viewers, we are happy you tuned in, and welcome to Storywa. By names, call me Edward Emiowach Giu. I am a youth leader in Gulu City here, and also a very staunch political analyst and an entrepreneur. I also promote entrepreneurship. I'm the executive director of Northern Uganda Youth Empowerment Initiative. I'm so glad to be on this platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie, for coming. Yes.
Thank you, our host and my colleague Edward, and all the viewers of Storywa. I am Wakorach Fred Lukuya. I am an IT specialist, but also a political analyst. I have so much interest in leadership and governance, both at a national and international level. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You are both welcome for today's edition. And we want to welcome you again. It's going to be a very nice engagement this evening on the topic at hand. It's not news now because it's spent 3 days coming to 4 days. The government of Uganda has endorsed Ambassador Dr. Olara Otunu's bid for UN Secretary General. And that's what we are going to talk about today. We want to know into details what in the first place happens at the UN Secretary General. What is about that job? Why is it a big job that the entire world has? What is the process of UN and how do people get there? We want to unpack why is the candidature of Olara Otunnu a game changer in this race? Why is it that from all over the globe, from all over Africa, people are saying Otunu is very able? We want to see his ability. We are going to talk about it in depth. We want to also talk about why is the endorsement coming at this particular time? We all know that for some time now, Olara Otunnu had shown interest in wanting to be at the top job of the UN. Why at this time? And we, of course, going to talk about what it means for our country, Uganda, our continent, Africa, even for you who is down there in the village or who is down there in Kitgum, in Agago, in Lamour, you're there in West Nile, you're in Laon. So let us start, Fred. I want you to bring our viewers to speed. When they say the UN or the Secretary General of the UN, what does that mean? How does the UN function in the first place? And what is that job about?
Thank you once again. Just to get it started, I would like to thank our viewers for following this program. Now, the UN is a league of nations. If we know well, the UN was created after wars, the world wars that we had in the past. And the nations decided that for us not to have any more wars, we need to come together so that we have a body that can really resolve conflicts. In case of any emergence of conflicts or interest, this body should be the supreme body that handles such conflicts at the highest and international levels, including regional levels. So that's how the UN was created. But to run such institutions, huge and big institutions, you need a secretariat. Now, the secretariat are actually the administrative arm of institutions. Just like in government, we have the executive. So in the UN, we have the UN Secretariat, which is headed by the Secretary General. Now, the Secretary General is the chief executive officer of the United Nations. In other words, he's the administrative officer, the overall boss who monitors and is in charge. He's the one who reports to all the heads of states in the General Assembly of the whatever is going on issues of security, issues of peace, issues of maybe international interest, like technologies. Right now, we have the emergence of technology. So those things are discussed at that highest level. And therefore, the Secretary General is the highest, in other words, is the highest international diplomatic position all over the world, because the highest person holding that office, it's a prestige. First of all, to have a Secretary General coming from your country is a prestige. We had it in the past, Kofi Annan from Ghana. We had Ban Ki-moon from Korea. We had several others. One of them was, I think, from South America. Now, to get to that position, there are procedures and processes that the world has developed. Fortunately, it was also, the current process was created by our son and father, Olara Otunu, which we always call the Otunu formula. Now, there are procedures which has been developed. The UN has two states, groups. We have the permanent members of the Security Council. They are arms of the UN that manages the United Nations. We have the Security Council, and then we have others like the UN Human Rights Commission. There are several others, Commission for Refugees, Human Rights Watch. All these ones, they have their leaders. But the supreme governance of the Security Council, the powers, mostly belongs to the Security Council. Now, the UN Security Council, there are two groups of members. We have the permanent members of the Security Council and the temporary or non-permanent members. Now, the non-permanent members, they are always changed. They are not constant. While the permanent one, which are the 5 countries, are the US, the UK, France, Russia, and China. These are the permanent. Their seats in the Security Council is permanent and is unchangeable. Now, to get into the election of the Secretary General that we are talking about now is, first of all, there are 15 members of the Security Council, 5 which are permanent and 10 which are non-permanent. Temporary. Now, the 5 have supreme powers in determining the Secretary General. That is how interesting the Otunu formulas now comes into play, because the Otunu formula is about discourage, encourage, and then the neutral. Now, the encourage means to accept. The discourage means not to accept, and then the neutral members. Now, for you to become a Secretary General, you need to get at least 9 votes out of the 15. Now, the 9 votes, the 5 permanent members must all accept you. So that's the funny thing. So if one of the members of the 5 permanent members doesn't accept you, or they call it veto, to discourage, not to accept you, that means you cannot become a Secretary General.
So wait, if I am picking you right, this entire position that is on the news all over, only 15 people are going to vote for?
Well, the straw balloting, which is the Otunu's formula, first of all, there's a process, there's an entire process. To get the Secretary General, first of all, there is a nomination by the countries. The countries can nominate who potentially can become a Secretary General. For our case, Uganda nominated Olara Otunu. Other countries like Costa Rica, Argentina, they nominated their candidates. Senegal also nominated their former president, Macky Sall. Now, in that regard, after that nomination, they go through some processes. They submit their CV, which is vetted. And then now, the process of the straw balloting begins. After that balloting, successful candidate, which is recommended to the General Assembly, who approves it, Okay, the General Assembly will just approve. I think they're sitting around October or maybe November, later this year. They just approve the endorsement coming from the 15 members. So basically, these people stand. There is going to be an election, but that election changes very little because it requires just a simple majority to win. Yes, if the endorsement from the straw balloting, the person who has been endorsed has gone to the next step, which is the General Assembly, the 193 member states. It's just a simple majority. If the 193, if maybe like 90 something or 100 votes for you, so you are through. It doesn't require any other exclusive rule. So that is how you get the Secretary General. But it originates from the countries. The foreign ministry must be able to nominate you. You cannot just go as me and I want to become a Secretary General. No, there are processes. And then they also participate in town hall meetings. Now, you may ask, recently there was a town hall meeting last week, which Otunu did not attend. Because he was not yet nominated by that time. The nomination from Uganda came a little later. Now, people are even questioning themselves. How? Why Otunu? Was there a problem with the other candidatures already? Or it's quite complicated now, we don't know. So that is how the Secretary General, but the Secretary General maintains two powers. There is also a political influence because being at the hem, at the top pinnacle of the United Nations, and also you have the administrative power over the whole UN system with all its branches. As I said, we have so many World Food Program, we have the High Commission for Refugees, Human Rights, and all that.
Environment.
Yeah, they have so many. So now, to oversee the entire UN system, so that alone is a huge responsibility. But if you are elected at the level of a UN Secretary General, that means you also already have political influence because the UN Secretary General can bring to the attention of United Nations General Assembly if there are a potential crisis somewhere. He has the power to raise it so that there are issues that can be handled. For example, now we have the wars between Iran, Israel, we have the Ukrainian and the Russian war, and like the conflict in the eastern DRC. So if there is a conflict, say in the Tigray region in Ethiopia, some conflict is going on, but the world is keeping maybe a blind eye. They have no interest in that. The Secretary General has the power to bring it to the attention of the UN General Assembly to be discussed. So that means he also maintained that power, the political power. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's really a very complex, but also a very high-level position, which, if Uganda gets it, it's a rare privilege that comes in generations, because it would be the second, I think, black person to become a Secretary General. Because there was an Egyptian in the past. For African, but I'm meaning blacks because, the Egyptians are white. Yeah. So that is the role. But he remains the way we have chief executive officers in companies, in banks, in government, for example. The president is our chief executive officer
Of the country.
of the country. So the Secretary General maintains that high level power, the entire secretariat. Yes.
Wow. That has been a whole lot of class for me. You've really educated me on a lot of the proceedings of the UN and how they get their Secretary General. A lot of things that I did not know before. Eddie, I want to come to you.
Yes.
There has been a lot on social media, on articles, on the newspaper, everywhere, where people are referring to Otunu, Dr. Ambassador Otunu, as the most capable, the most able, very qualified. Those words are now everywhere. So when they say very qualified, what are they talking about here? What is in Otunu that makes him very qualified? What's unique about Otunu that our viewers could know that may be guiding them in saying, this Otunu is very qualified, is very capable of the job. Yeah.
So, well, thank you, moderator Fred. First and foremost, let us dive into the personality or who Olara Otunnu is, the so-called Dr. Ambassador Olara Otunnu. First of all, he's actually, as we all know, from Ketgumuchwini. Yeah, he was born in 1950. So that makes him 75 years old right now, September 6th. So we are heading towards his birthday. Otunu has been an exceptional student way back from school, from history, because he was among the very few actually who studied at Budo. After Budo, he went to Makerere University. And going to Makerere University, he was the best student. Apart from just being the best student,
I
he
heard
was the
someone,
president.
I heard someone saying that Otunu decided to study in Budo and actually go and even stay in Budo. That he is one of the Budonians who is very proud of his school, Budo. So
Yes.
I'm not surprised.
Yes, because those days, you remember 1950, it means he was born during the colonial times. So, for one person to actually go and study in Budo, you have to be really an exceptional student. And that is where Otunu was. So, moving to Makerere University, he was a law student, and at the same time, he was the guild president. Now, being the guild president, now that was now later in around the 70s now. That was when now President Idi Amin was the one in charge. He had his fair share of altercations with the president at that time, or the government at that time. And he was among the first people who started the Uganda National Students Association, what we call now UNSA.
UNSA.
Yes. So you find that being at the helm of guild presidency of Makerere and also being the president of all the students of the country, that one alone it shows you the kind of person Otunu is. And he was among the very best students
Yet
in the
we
whole
know,
country.
We know at that time that for you to be going to school, you must be coming from families of kings,
Exactly.
things like that. Then rising from humble background to go
Yes.
and lead those children of kings.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was that shows you how capable Olara Otunnu is. Now, leave alone that, Otunu went up to the extent of getting a Fulbright scholarship. You know what a Fulbright scholarship means? It means you're among the few students who are exceptionally intelligent to go and study in the prestigious Oxford University. After finishing Bachelor of Law from Makerere, he went to Oxford University, where he studied jurisprudence, which was also another degree. Then apart from that, he even proceeded to do his Masters of Law at Harvard University. Those are the top universities in the whole world.
In the whole world.
In the whole world. So that tells you the man called Olara Otunnu is a very exceptional character. And he's a no-nonsense person. Idi Amin can testify on how Olara, if he was alive, he would testify right now. But now, unfortunately, he's not alive right now. So, when Olara Otunnu finished his studies, from 1980 to 85, he was the permanent UN representative. So that is where the title that is where I got the diplomatic title from. That's where they started calling him ambassador. Now, serving at UN in the 80s for 5 years at the position of permanent representative of the UN makes him, even if he had contested at that time, that one alone makes him a very powerful contender, because he will have had now the experience of being a UN permanent representative. But he went as far as in 86, when now the current NRM government was coming on board. He was the foreign minister in Uganda. Most people don't know, and he doesn't really talk about his own achievement, but he was a whole cabinet minister in Uganda's government at a time when there was a lot of transition coming in. So holding a position of a foreign minister, that also shows you that he really understands what diplomacy is. You know, UN relations, ambassadorial works and stuff like that. But not only that, Olara Otunnu, from records, he is the first UN Secretary General in charge of children under armed conflict. And that is a position that he was the first, not, he was the first human being
to hold,
you know, to hold that position.
Specific.
Yes, specific position. And he did not just get these positions by mere wishing, but it was because of his good works and advocacies all over the country. I mean, all over the globe, you know. So from there, he has been holding several other engagements in concerning peace, talking to people in armed conflicts. So that makes him very, very qualified human being. So when you hear right now, they are calling Dr. Ambassador Olara as a very intelligent or very qualified person, it means it's not just that Ugandans are loving him, but it means his candidature stands for itself. You know, his reputation just stands for himself. Now, you will imagine that Olara Otunu, ambassador, is someone who has not been seeing eye to eye with President Museveni. But President Museveni was like, no, out of everyone that I can see around, this is the most qualified person. That is why the NRM government pushed his candidature on July 24th so that he can go and be, so that they can also throw his hat in the ring to contest for that position. Because there is no person in this country, I can assure you, there is no Ugandan who is more qualified than Dr. Ambassador Olara Otunu for that position.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, Fred, we are seeing Otunu as the most capable that people have been talking about. Eddie has alluded, Eddie has brought light onto it, his background, his education, his earlier works and engagements with the UN, his ministerial position, and a lot of his qualifications. Eddie has talked about it. What makes him stand out? Like, why? Because we saw there had been many candidates in the race. You all know the race was opened last November. The position was advertised last November, but Otunu has just entered, not even coming,
July 24th.
just July 24th. And already his entrance in the race is shaking the entire globe. What is there to add on the person of his caliber? What is his qualification that shakes the world like that? Yet he is a late entrant.
Well, thank you. I think my brother Edward has given elaborate information. I want to just to add a few things. We also have to note that Otunu was president of the UN Security Council between 82 to 83. Because when he was the permanent representative, Uganda's permanent representative, it was, first of all, he was appointed to the UN by President Binaiza Lukongwa. Then eventually, when there was that transition, because there was some short transition in 1980, when there was a selection which was held, and then eventually the UPC government came into power. Apollo Milton Obote now made him Uganda's permanent representative to the United Nations. But he was initially appointed by Binaiza Lukongwa. Now, that role during that tenure, 1980 to 1985, where he served a number of roles, and as I said, he was president of the UN Security Council. He was also, I think, vice president of the General Assembly of the UN within that time. Now, that gave him an overwhelming experience in the UN system, especially at the Secretariat. Beyond that, Otunu also served as UN Under-Secretary. He was appointed the UN Under-Secretary by the Kofi Annan, Secretary General Kofi Annan. So he served as Under-Secretary. And Under-Secretary, he was just appointed because of his competence and his experience. Let us also remember that Otunu joined the UN when he was young. If my brother Edward said he was born in 1950. In 1980, Otunu was 30 years. So you can imagine, at 30 years, he was already climbing the ladder. And by the time he was appointed the head of the Security Council, the president, that is the highest ranking diplomatic position at that time. Uganda's highest rank in diplomatic position. And let me tell you, in diplomacy, you grow. Diplomats, maybe modern day diplomats, but in diplomacy, there is that high level engagement that doesn't require somebody who has intellectual inadequacy. So this tells you that Otunu possesses very high level intellectual adequacy. And he also served as he was appointed as the first UN Special Envoy for children and armed conflict. And this played very significant role in the war which was here, the LRA Uganda government war between 1986 to 2006. It was his position was very instrumental. Yeah, so for me, I think he possesses the deepest experience compared to other candidates. Yes, the other candidates have also grown through the system, but he possesses actually the deepest. When you grow, as you join an institution when you are young, you grow with them, with the ideologies, with the system. So he grew. Unlike these other candidates, which to me I think they join at a later stage, probably, and they don't possess that much deeper experience than Otunu. And then maybe lastly, for now, I think we also have to note that Otunu tried to become a Secretary General in the past. This is a very important information that the viewers of Story What should not. But he had challenges of endorsement by the government of Uganda. As I said, you should be nominated by your country.
By your country.
Now, unfortunately, he was not nominated. And there was a scandal when he tried to even change his nationality to Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire. And he tried, but it didn't work out. And eventually, Kofi Annan became the Secretary General. But we believe that if at that time, Uganda government had presented Otunu, there was no way Otunu could not become a Secretary General. And maybe the very last one is that right now, by age, people call him a retired ambassador. But in the UN system, you can still be recalled until you're 85 years. So right now, Otunu is 75. He's making 76 in September. So he can still become a Secretary General for 2 terms, because to be a Secretary General, you work for 5 years. 5 years, and then they can renew your term for another 5 years. There have been also cases in the past when somebody has not served, because, as I said, the veto powers belongs to the permanent members of the Security Council, the 5. So if one member disagrees, and now these members, it is based on their interest. So what makes it more complex right now, the candidature, we don't know, because what is the interest of the world right now? What are the kind of person they are looking at? Because as you see, there is a bit of chaos throughout the world right now. You see the Middle East war, the Russian war, Africa, they're also going through different internal conflicts. And also, I think there is also that war, the other side of the world, in America, in the South America, there's that chaos between the US and Venezuela, maybe Cuba, they're talking about Greenland. So the world will look at somebody who can be like a mediator, who can really soften the current situation. But of all people, based on the experience, based on the roles Otunu has played, he possesses that deepest experience. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for highlighting some of those roles that Otunu held and his contributions to them. I think in the early 80s, there was also a war between Argentina and England, and that war came to an end in 1982. So I think could be that, and given the fact that he was the first special envoy on children and war, could be that the current wars that are going over could give him an advantage. We don't know. But I want us to shift our attention and come back to, let's say, our domestic issues here. Like you alluded to it, you said Otunu has shown interest before of wanting to be the Secretary General, but he was not nominated. What has changed? I'm going to start with you, Eddie. What do you think has changed between that time and now? What is the government seeing in Otunu right now that it did not see before? Or what did it not see before that he has seen right now? Or what has changed in Otunu, or what has changed in the government?
Well, thank you, moderator. We all know that when Dr. Olara Otunu was the Under Secretary General for Children in Armed Conflicts, he moved all over the world accusing the current government. Because there are recordings where Olara Otunu was very, very openly talking about these things on on global platforms, you see. So, of course, as a sitting president, you're being accused of all this. And your accuser is coming to you to give him more powers.
A louder microphone.
Exactly.
To accuse you further.
So, ordinarily, you would see where the discussion would go. So, that was the biggest problem that the current government under President Museveni and Olara Otunu, the Secretary General at that time, were having. So, there was no way he would be allowed to become Secretary General. That is just like empowering your enemy to fight you more at that time. But as we all know, our president is the one who forgives and forgets. Okay? Because we saw for the first time.
Forgiving can be seen, forgetting cannot be seen. So we can stick to what can be measurable.
By the mere fact that President Museveni endorsed Otunu's nomination, it means he has let go of the past, have buried the hatchet. You saw it clearly when at Kaunda grounds during CJ Owindolo's homecoming. President Museveni invited Olara Otunu in front and had a handshake. That was the first time it was ever happening. And I think that is the reason why President was like, okay, from today, I forgive you wholeheartedly. Anything that you want, with your UN things, I am willing to give you.
I am willing to give you.
You see, that was the turning point. And if you ask me what happened, it is not like the president saw something in him the other time that he now is trying to ignore this time around. It was just because, reconciliation, people reconcile. You can be my enemy today, but after some time, they say time heals. And it has been quite some time now.
But also after sometimes people mature and perspectives change.
Of course. The president is now 80-something plus. He's tending towards the departure lounge, like how my friend calls it. So it is, as you grow older and older, you move closer to your to meeting your heavenly Father. So you start having now these things of, maybe I need to let go of this. I need to let go. I need to forgive more. I need to,
But also,
revive my...
You rise above some issues.
So there are some issues which now become way too below you. And you're now above at a certain level. So President Museveni knows very well that Dr. Ambassador Olara Otunu becoming the Secretary General of the UN doesn't shake his position as the president of the country or as Uganda.
Right now.
Because he knows he's the one who has given him the endorsement. And he is willing. Actually, they have forgiven each other. We've seen it openly. It's not speculation. So, for that reason, it is very clear that there is no more beef between them. And so, he wishes Dr. Olara Otunu all the very best. And I'm sure if there was a way he could go and
campaigning.
Yes, I'm very sure President Museveni would go all over the globe campaigning for Dr. Olara Otunu because he knows his capabilities, and they have moved politics aside. And I think Olara Otunu also, as a person, he has washed his hands from domestic politics of the country. Of course, we all know when he had just come back from abroad, he came, he contested in the 2011 general elections. He was the president of UPC, which was an opposition political party. Then he served for like 5 years from 2010 to 2015 as an opposition leader, as the president of UPC, you know, sharply criticizing the president. But I think all that has been swept under the rug. And right now, everyone is wishing Dr. Ambassador Olara the very best.
Thank you, Eddie, for shining the background, light on the background, and how things have been. I want to come to you, Fred. What do you think changed? Eddie has said that nothing could have changed, just people growing up and forgiving the past and maturity and unity and moving forward with the spirit of one Uganda and all those. So in your perspective, don't you think there could have been negotiations? What's your take on the current government standing regarding Otunnu's, the government nomination of Otunnu's bid for the UN job?
Well, I think the government's nomination seems to be strategic. At this point in time, I look at it from a strategic point of view. As you may have seen, and I don't want to speculate, but we've seen Uganda's image globally is getting out of hand. Its diplomatic relations with the world. I want to suggest that with the current, injustices we are seeing, like in courts, the way the opposition is being treated, and things
Election
like that, it's actually portraying Uganda very negatively in the outside world. So I think the government strategically saw that they need to find a way to make amends with the rest of the world. And how can they do that? First of all, they have to be at the helm, at the top. Now, being at the top with a person you've reconciled means a lot of things can change. For me, that is the first perspective. But also, I also think the endorsement of Otunu probably might also be an endorsement from the world powers, the one we are calling permanent members of the Security Council. Because let us remember that some few years ago, the West Africa have really caused trouble to France. If you can see, you see how Burkina Faso, the Mali, they have kind of like expelled France. And France, technically, now, they have lost a lot of powers in West Africa. So they are targeting, they cannot really make any endorsement in West Africa. So to bring back their powers, they need somebody who can carry their interest. And I want to believe that our system, our government has been very good at taking interest of the Western world. You remember from the 90s, the SAP, the structural adjustment programs of the World Bank. Right now they're shifting, they're swinging like a pendulum bob, going towards the BRICS, the BRICS. Because the power of the BRICS is also coming, like the Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. That BRICS bloc is also causing a lot of... So they want to carry interest. You see, they've successfully carried interest in South Sudan. During the Garang, the SPLA, the Khartoum government war. They've successfully also managed in Congo, because the Congo interest, the war, that never ends because of the interest of the Western world. And they have also manipulated in Somalia, their presence in Somalia, their presence in Afghanistan in the past, in Iraq, all these ones. So they're also trying, at the end, they're also balancing that equation. Now, they look at it from the perspective that Otunu, being already a global figure, regardless of the past
integrity,
yes, his past records speaks for itself. So once they present that candidate, definitely the interest of the Western world will pick up, definitely. And then secondly, also on the amends, as my brother said, the past was complex.
Maybe before you move further, are you trying to insinuate that there could have been invisible hands from stronger powers to incite this nomination?
That is what I'm trying to mean, because definitely when you look at the way Otunu entered this nomination, remember, at the beginning we say the process started last year, and even before after the first town hall meeting, which was held last week, I think that's when we saw the endorsement by the Ugandan government of Dr. Olara Otunu. So definitely speaks to you that there has been something that has been identified, and probably that is also the strong point of Dr. Olara Otunu, because it looks like the Western world, the powerful countries, particularly the French and then maybe the US and the UK, they have more stronger interest in him. And maybe in that first, the endorsement, we are not sure whether it was Olara Otunu who expressed first interest, but as far as I know, it was the government who endorsed him. But the government cannot endorse you without your will. So probably his will, he showed his willingness. And then the other aspect of the forgiveness, Uganda has had a rough past, and there was that bit of chaos in terms of tribalism, tribal sentiments in the 90s. And the NRM government was very skeptical at the beginning of promoting other people. It was only the person who accepts their ideology instantly who are incorporated in the system. But the people who were not supporting what was going on.
You had to first be seen that you are not carrying tribalistic
interest.
Mm.
Definitely, because the war is a story of its own. We cannot discuss now. The war which was fought here, a lot of things happened which the Western world didn't know, the actual things which were happening. And by having Otunu at the top, definitely will push the world to know what was going on at that time. So by denying him that chance means you are blocking, because the information at that time was cut off. And as I said, I don't want to go into details because, the security situation. For you to come to northern Uganda at that time, you needed to get those clearances from the army. You are escorted. All your activities were monitored. But once Olara Otunu was positioned to the top, he would really pressurize the Security Council. He would pressurize the permanent members to really create Uganda as an emergency. You remember the government took long to declare Uganda. Actually, I don't know whether they even declared northern Uganda an emergency, because by declaring an area emergency, that would attract international interventions. It took very long time for the government to do. But as I said, that's a topic for another day. So that possibly contributed to the government's refusal of endorsing him at that time, because they were still trying to settle and make sure that what was going on in the region goes unnoticed. Yeah.
So we can see it as that time they were still sweeping the house.
Yeah.
Now they can open us to the entire world.
Yeah, the world can now come in.
The world can now come in and see us.
Definitely.
As a
so that's how I look at the situation, but I see it from that dual point of view.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That has been very in-depth, very things like, for me it is like I'm in a school today, like learning a lot of new things that I did not know. As we turn towards the end of our today's discussion, time really flies so fast. I know we still have some time, but I want us to talk about this now from African perspective, from Ugandan perspective, Northern Ugandan perspective. What does this mean for us? I'll start with you, Eddie. What do you think Ambassador's bid for UN Secretary General means for us as a country, as a people, as Black people, as Africa? What do you think this carries for us?
Well, right now, as we stand, the government of Uganda endorsing or nominating Dr. Ambassador Olara Otunu shows the whole world that maybe Uganda and his ambassador Olara Otunu have reconciled.
There is peace in the country.
Yes, that one sends a very sharp and clear message to the whole world. So that is one significance that I see coming with this nomination. Whether Dr. Ambassador Olara Otunu goes through or not, he has had the blessing of his country, which had never happened in the past. But also, it is worthy to note that the Buganda kingdom itself, that we know were not so much on the side of people this side,
Of
through
the
the
UPC
prime minister
government.
of the UPC government. Because you remember it was Obote's government that threw away Buganda kingdom and kingdomship.
In
Yes, in the 80s,
in the 80s,
when Obote was still president. So right now, the prime minister of Uganda also giving blessings to Dr. Olara Otunu means a lot. You know, it shows a lot of reconciliation and forgiveness.
unity from within.
And unity from within.
Let me quote what he has written to our viewers. This is the Prime Minister
Peter
of
Maiga, Charles.
of Buganda. He says, "It will be an absolute honor for Uganda and Africa should her decent and capable son, Olara Otunu, get elected Secretary General of the UN. Good luck and best wishes."
Well, that shows a very high level of political maturity. It sends a message that Ugandans have moved past petty grievances and there is no more tribal interests when it comes to global issues or national matters, because our son is being presented on the global stage. But also significantly, it is an element of pride for us down here as the Acholi people, as generally people of northern Uganda. Because we are not sure when else we would have such a competent human being.
So it's like we are hosting World Cup.
Yes, because this is a very rare privilege and an honor for the very first time. And it is going to take us a very, very long while to have someone in the caliber of Dr. Ambassador Olara Otunu, even to be nominated for the position of Secretary General in the future. So it is an opportune moment for us as Ugandans. And as they say, you strike the iron while it is hot. This is the best time for Dr. Ambassador Olara Otunu or for Uganda to have a Secretary General position. And also East Africa. Remember, is the only one in East Africa.
Yeah.
And generally, that is how important or
And this part of Africa has never had.
And the black Africans, it is the first time.
Like know? Eastern Africa.
Actually,
Southern Africa, Eastern
South
Africa.
And East and South.
And
because
even
we
the
have
Horn
a
of
candidate.
Africa.
Yeah, we have a candidate in Senegal. Yeah, former president, who is also coming in to contest. But I don't think she holds as much weight as Ambassador Olara Otunu holds.
Yeah. Thank you, Eddie. It's true. This is a very big kind of privilege.
Yes.
Like the way I said it, like to see Uganda host World Cup in your lifetime.
Yes.
Is rare. But now in the caliber of Olara Otunu, we'll have the spotlight that a country has when they are, for example, hosting World Cup.
Yes.
Because you have the entire CEO of the UN, which who runs subscription of 193 countries, all managing all departments: climate, human rights, technology, UN women, refugees, HIV/AIDS. It's surely a privilege. So Fred, what does this mean for us?
I think for Uganda as a country, this is going to be the greatest honor. It's like I can relate it to the Catholic Church. You're having a pope. Which is a rarity in your lifetime.
In your life.
Having Olara Otunu, doctor, becomes the Secretary General of the United Nations would be a huge privilege to Uganda and to Africa. True. Because of his distinguished service and also knowledge.
Yeah.
And besides, I think it is going to be a very great unifying factor, especially for Uganda as a country. You know, we've been praying for the Peace and Reconciliation, Truth-Telling Commission, which has never come to pass. And by the endorsement, what you read about the Prime Minister of Buganda, I mean the Katikiro of Buganda, that already shows that Ugandans are beginning to wake up and to realize that we are a nation.
We are a nation.
United. Once we are united, we are a nation. Once we are separate, then we cease to be a nation. We are just tribes. And that is very significant to Uganda as a country. But also, I remember when Barack Obama became the president of the United States, I think the world, Kenyans went crazy because
Yes.
for the first time, a black man who originates from Kenya becoming a president. So having Olara Otunu is a recognition of Ugandans, the quality of Ugandans to the rest of the world. Because for a person to rise from Muchwini, from Vara Primary School, Anaga Primary School, to that top level in the world, it also gives motivation to Ugandans, especially the younger people, that, you know, through resilience, integrity, and commitment and hard work, nothing is impossible. So for me, I see that it's a great privilege to Uganda, but more especially in the political dilemma that the country right now is faced with, especially the political quagmire where, you know, opposing government becomes like itself death and life. It shows that reconciliation is possible in a country which has seen the darkest history over the last 60 years post-independence. So for me, I look at it at that angle, that having him, first of all, his nomination alone is already a sense of relief to many who believed in reconciliation. But also, maybe finally for now, his nomination is going to help shape Ugandans and the East African collaboration. Because right now, Ugandans have to lobby, whether we want it or not. Leave alone the lobbying the other top members of the Security Council is a bit hard. But it's possible. The Minister of Foreign Affairs must do a lot of work now. But we also have to start with the member states of the East African Community, and then we expand to the African Union and the other regional blocs which are spread throughout the world. And that will really help solidify, because wishing alone, he has the qualification, but there are a lot of powers at play for you to become a Secretary General, because the world looks at you from a different interest. This world is currently run based on interest. Whatever wars you are seeing is not only the wars because somebody has to own something, that we want their things as well. And that will also help the region itself in negotiating with the rest of the world. Yes, that's how I look at it.
Wow, thank you. You have reminded me of one thing. You talked about Barack Obama, and you know, I have been following Barack Obama's journey a lot, and I know Ambassador has a friend in Kenya whom he invited over to Gulu last December. The governor of Kisumu. Kisumu is a Luo land in Kenya. And Barack Obama actually comes, the father comes from Kisumu, which is a Luo land. In other words, the grandmother of Obama was called Akumu. And Auma is the sister.
Auma is the sister, yeah.
Yes, Akumu is the one who gave birth to Obama's father. And then Auma is the sister. So I think ideally, in a small way, when Ugandans will go up in excitement, we who are Luos are now going to burst with happiness to produce two very strong people in the world. Thank you so much, my panelists. I want you to say in one minute your last words to our viewers. Eddie.
Well, thank you. Thank you, our viewers, for also taking your time and follow us up to now. We are very grateful that you keep supporting us, and let us look very closely. Let us watch very closely, and let us follow how our son from Uchwini is going to make it to the topmost UN job. I have, excuse me, I have confidence that our man is going to get the job because he has ever led at the top level, and I'm sure he's going to get it again. I thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Eddie. Fred, your last one.
Okay, thank you, Fred, and my brother co-panelist Edward. Thank you so much, the followers and viewers of Storywa. I wish you continue following the discussions so that you get deeper insights of what's going on around the world and around our society. From me, I wish our dear distinguished lawyer, diplomat, Dr. Olara Otunu, all the very best. Right now, the ball is not in our courts, but the ball is in our nation's court. Maybe let them not stop with only the endorsement, but with serious and strategic lobbying, as I stated. Because without lobbying, just having the profile, because the other countries are as well lobbying for their candidates. And so we have to take very serious, and this is the test of our international relations. Let us avoid other things that would really cause. There are a lot of things. Right now, we are in an information era where information spreads so fast. It is at this critical juncture that we should learn to be more of a nation and doing the right thing to give a fair face of our life to the world. Thank you, and I wish you the best. See you next time.
Thank you so much, our panelists, for honoring our invitation, for allowing to be with us to dissect this very important topic. At Storywa, we are always very committed to keeping you at par with whatever is going on in the world, and to make sure that our discussions enlighten you, educate you, inform you. We always want to ensure that the people we invite do justice to the topics. We want to say that as you are down there, you are in Kitgum, you are in Lamour, you are in West Nile, you are in Lao, you are in Karamoja, you are still a youth, you could be our next Otunu in 30 years to come. This should be an inspiration to you. And as Storywa, we want to say thank you for keeping glued up to us. Me, the host, Odore Fred, I want to say thank you. Follow us on all our social media platforms. Bye-bye until we meet again next time.